You fine? Footsies with me?
My feet are cold. I'm putting my feet on the back of your calves.
Yeah, I know. It's cold. It's cold. What's going on, people? Ben and Brittany here from benandbrittany.net. And today we are talking about what is a healthy body. I think that is one of the topics of today that's just nobody really quite has the answer. And I think there's a lot of different schools of thought about what a true healthy body is. And I think most of the time, people think that a healthy body is a very physically fit body. One that has six-pack abs and can do 175 squats with 200 pounds. Like, that's health. Is it? I told Brittany before this podcast, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question, and we're not going to talk about it before the podcast because I want your real answer. And I think it's just this whole... I don't think people take emotions and psychology into account when they're talking about their healthy body. And the question is, does your brain count as your body? Like, for instance, is an unhappy person that is ripped out of their mind and in great physical health healthier than a person who drinks wine and smokes cigarettes and is super happy? Who's healthier? Stumped her.
You're weird.
I think that's a good thing to talk about, though, because I think that mental health is a part of your body.
Overall health.
Like, that's part of a healthy body, I think. And we've been trying to balance like physical fitness and mental fitness. Like, for instance, I love to drink wine. Brittany loves to drink wine. We drink wine almost all the time. Like, every night I've been having one little 4-ounce glass of wine, and I love doing that. Does that make me unhealthy?
I don't think that makes you unhealthy.
Yeah.
I think if we drink wine all day, every day, that would be unhealthy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gray area.
But we truly just have like a small glass of wine with dinner. And then sometimes, more so on nights that we don't have the kids, we might have like an additional glass before bed.
Yeah.
And then our occasional outings when we do wine tastings and stuff.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that's unhealthy. I think everything is okay in moderation.
Yeah.
That would be my thought.
I agree with that 100%. I guess my question to you is, like, what do you think a healthy body is?
When I think about health, I think about somebody who maybe they're not physically fit, but they weigh enough so that way their body can function fully without like struggling. But then also they don't weigh too much to where it's hard on the heart. So like I've been told before that when you don't weigh enough, your heart works harder, just as if when you weigh too much, your heart has to work harder. And your organs have to work harder at both ends of the spectrum. So you need to find that happy medium space where your body can function without stressing itself.
Yeah. So
I guess that's how that's what I consider health.
Yeah, and you struggle with that a little bit.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. I didn't want to push you too far.
Yeah, but no, I do.
You struggle with you constantly want to be skinnier and thinner.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily healthy. But then there's that question, like, does that make your brain think you're healthier? Like, do you feel better at 103 pounds or 120 pounds? Like, is there a difference between emotionally feeling better and physically feeling better? Like, can you feel like crap at 103 but feel satisfied in your brain that you made it that you're that skinny?
Right.
Is that a thing?
I definitely think it's a thing. Because if you're happy with how you look, then you think that you're healthy.
Yeah.
You know, even though, like, at my lowest weight, I was 103 pounds. And at the time, people kept telling me, like, you need to eat. Like, you're frail. I can see all the bones in your face. Like, you can see your ribs. And people were telling me I needed to gain weight and that it wasn't healthy how skinny I was. But to me, I was like, no, I am healthy because I don't have all this extra fat on me.
So your confidence was up.
And my confidence was up because I was in a size 0.
Wow.
So I felt like, well, no, this is healthy. Like if size 0 wasn't healthy, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't make that size. But they do.
I think...
So I definitely felt like I was being... And I worked out every day and I ate relatively healthy. But the problem was I wasn't eating enough.
Yeah.
So the items that I was eating were healthy.
But you weren't eating enough to sustain a healthy body.
To keep weight
You were running on fumes.
Right. So I was tired all the time. And there were times that I felt deprived. Like I would really want some ice cream, but I wouldn't let myself eat it.
I want ice cream
or
at least once a
when
day.
You and I first started dating, like on the days that I knew I was coming to your house and I knew that we were going to probably eat junk food or like have a couple drinks, like I wouldn't eat all day.
To prepare for that calorie intake
so
that was
way,
me.
Right. Like I would work out that morning extra hard at the gym and I would have maybe like a tablespoon or 2 of peanut butter to hold me over. And I would drink a lot of water and coffee to like make me feel full.
That's crazy. So I guess you see your body differently than you see other people's bodies, I think.
I agree.
So like what you think is healthy for you might look unhealthy on someone else. Like if you see another girl that's 103 pounds, you might be like, wow, that girl needs to eat. But you're also the same person that's like, I need to get down to 103 because that's where my confidence is.
I think it's more if I see somebody skinnier, I'm like, I've put on so much weight. That's my first thought.
Oh, so
because I'm like, I used to be that skinny.
Yeah.
That's my first thought is definitely like, wow, Brittany, you need to gain some self-control. So
you look at a girl that's skinnier than you, which there aren't many. There are not many.
There's plenty.
There's not many. You think that's more attractive. When you see a girl that's skinnier than you go, she's prettier than me. Mm-hmm. Really? Mm-hmm. Man.
I think that's why I've struggled so much because when you met me, I was 103 pounds. And then I started to gain some weight and I knew that I needed to. So I tried to like bite my lip and just allow it to kind of happen because we were going out to dinner a lot and like
when we were having fun.
And when I was spending whole days with you, like you would make me eat. Like there was no having a spoonful of peanut butter for lunch. You'd be like, no.
I'd be like, are you kidding me? Put it on some bread or something.
Yeah. So I started to put on some weight and I got a little self-conscious, but I didn't dislike it 100% until I like crossed a certain line. And then after that, I disliked it. And I just was always worried that you wouldn't find me attractive anymore because I didn't look like what I looked like when you fell in love with me.
That's such a strange thing because, like, I don't see other guys that are more fit than me and think that they're better looking than me or that they're better people than me. I don't think that at all. I just think that sometimes I see a fit guy and I'm like, oh, man, like, that guy works out. Like, I wonder if I worked out a little harder, if I could look like that. But it's never a comparison thing. It's always like, do I want to do that? Maybe this inspired me to hit the gym a little bit. Because I can appreciate the strength and like the way a person looks when they're physically fit, right? But I guess that's natural to look at somebody who's super physically fit and be like, man, I want that. I want that. But I think a person also needs to take into account whether or not their happiness is worth going to do that, because there's a lot of work, a huge amount of work that goes into being physically fit.
It's a lot of discipline.
It's a lot of discipline, and it's a lot of, you can't do a lot of the things that you like to do, especially when you get older. Like if you can't have a bowl of ice cream at night and expect to be physically fit, or if you do, there's a bunch of other rules you have to go by. Like it's a process to become super physically fit, and I think that sometimes during that process people start to lose their happiness, and that's why they give up. They're chasing a physically fit healthy body and they're sacrificing the emotional healthy body,
right?
And it's just like, where's that balance?
And I think it's hard.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, a healthy person is probably somebody who does, I mean, you should be physically active to an extent. So I guess in my opinion would be somebody who is physically active at least 30 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a week, but then balances healthier foods with things that do just give them satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's completely okay because, like you said, you want to have that balance of feeling like, okay, I'm healthy most of the time, but you know what? I can have a bowl of ice cream every now and then and be okay with it.
Yeah, I know that I need that balance because you and I have gone through it together.
Right.
I've said this on like every podcast that we've done in the past month, but like we sucked the fun out of January and we were super strict, super stringent, trying to get healthy and fit and removing all the fun from our lives. And I was just like, I need that fun. After January was done, I was just like, I need the fun.
Right.
And it's just like, it comes back to like, are we still healthy if we do unhealthy things? What's a healthy body? Like, am I satisfied with the way I am, or do I want to strive to be better? What sacrifices do I want to make? Where do I really want to fall on the physically fit spectrum?
Right. And I also think it's a mindset of understanding that everybody's bodies look different. So even if you and Joe work out and do the same exact workout routine every single day and eat the same exact foods every single day, it might still tone your bodies differently.
Yeah, Joe might be benefiting severely from it, and I might not be getting results.
Or you might get more definition in your legs and arms, and maybe not so much your abs, but Joe might have it like all in his abs and his arms. Like I think that's something that I have struggled with because like a 6-pack stomach is just not in my genetics. Like no matter how skinny I have gotten, I've always had the teensiest. Even like at 103 pounds, I still had this tiny layer of fat around my belly button. Like that's just where my body stores it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no getting around it. And I think that was something that that I just need to realize that that's just not what my body is going to look like. It's not in my genes.
Yeah. And I think my body's kind of the same way because when I hit the gym really hard and I'm super motivated trying to get physically fit and like win an Olympic event, like my arms get definition.
In your legs.
And my legs. But I always have this midsection kind of plump.
It's never plump.
Yeah, in your eyes, yours isn't plump either, but that's what you call it. It's this thing that is, not attractive to me, but it just doesn't go away. Like the amount of things that I would need to sacrifice to make that go away are not worth it to me.
You're depriving yourself.
Yeah, it's not worth that to me. So like I found where I want to lie on the spectrum, and I used to want to be far right, meaning like I wanted to be like ripped out of my mind. Like I wanted just people to see me and be like, that guy works out.
Yeah.
But I don't want that anymore. I would rather people look at me and be like, that guy is happy as hell. And he doesn't look that bad, Like that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that that's okay. I think people just need to find where they want to fall on the spectrum because you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I think, it's definitely easier said than done. Like, and I know, like, I think this comes back to my anxiety, which also has a component of OCD, which a lot of people have that when they have anxiety. And when I tend to get stressed, and I can't really control things that are happening in my life. This happens a lot when you go on tour. I know the one thing that I can control is my weight. So I'll work out like extra hard when you're gone, and I'll eat extra less when you're gone. And like last time we were on tour, I lost 8 pounds. And I think it's like, I can tell you that my body is probably at the healthiest it's ever been. I'm active a couple days a week. And I also eat pretty healthy most of the time. And then like we have a day or two a week where we might have like
a fried appetizer sampler from Rutter's.
Right. Something more fun. But I always have extreme guilt the next day.
Extreme guilt?
Extreme guilt.
Really?
Like I'll step on the scale and realize that I've gained a pound, and then I kind of panic.
I've seen
So it's definitely, it's so hard to change your mindset around it. So I can tell you that I know what a healthy body looks like. And I know that, I mean, I have Facebook memories that pop up every day, and I look at pictures of myself when we first met, and like one popped up like 2 days ago, and like you could literally see like all these little tiny bones. Like your nose actually has like a ton of stuff going on.
your skin was just like sucked to your face.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like you could see like all these little tiny divots in my nose that like you can't see now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know how to describe it. Like I can look at those pictures and be like, Brittany, that was so gross looking.
But when you look in the mirror, you're like, I need to get back there.
Right. It's such a hard balance. And like when I was 125 pounds when you left for tour. And then when you came home, I was 117. And even like every time I lost like 2 pounds, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not happy yet. Maybe if I get to, so like at 125, I was like, well, maybe if I lose 5 pounds. And I got to 120, I was like, this is better, but I'm still not happy. So maybe when I get to 115, and then I got to 117, and I was feeling more confident, but I was still picking apart my body. And I was like, oh, I know I need to still lose another 5 because I have like fat here that I don't like and fat here that I don't like. But then you came home, and then like I started eating more again because like you're my comfort.
So I guess which one, this is probably the hardest question ever, but like which you do you prefer? Or does it change? Like, do you prefer Brittany 120 pounds and like happy but kind of feeling a little bit of anxiety about your weight? Or do you prefer 103 pound Brittany that, maybe isn't the happiest, but you feel confident in the sense that like you're 103 pounds?
I think I'm happier now because I'm not as tired and I'm not as deprived. You like
feel better physically.
Like I feel better in that sense. And I know that I'm healthier now than I was then. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, I don't want the girls to grow up thinking that 103 pounds is healthy.
Yeah.
So I try to, like, I deal with the internal struggle for them more than anything.
Yeah.
And then also for our marriage, because whenever, like, I was trying to keep depriving myself, it was affecting both of us.
It was, because I would, like, you don't realize this, a lot of people don't realize this, but like your emotions and your energy rubs off on other people. So when Brittany would walk out of the bathroom and be like, I am fat, I can't stand it, and she would be like on the verge of tears, like that energy comes off on me, and it's like my job to try to fix her emotions. And that is a very, very daunting task. And sometimes that can like really bring me down too. And it's one of those things though, because I love you so much. I want to be that person. It's just difficult sometimes. And I love that you said that you prefer the heavier Brittany, the 120 Brittany, or 118, whatever you are. And I like that, because that's the Brittany that I like. I don't like the constantly trying to lose weight Brittany. I like the happy Brittany that, like, if you want a glass of wine, you're like, yeah, pour me a glass, let's go. Like, I love that. That is the funnest thing ever. Or you're like, make me a mocha, extra sugar. I'm like, yes. That's the Brittany that I love. Like, the one that just doesn't care and just wants to be happy. And I guess it's hard for me to understand, because I can easily give up on something if it's not making me happy. Like, I tried really hard to be like the physically fit person, and I went through the gauntlet doing that, and weeks at a time, going to the gym every day. And then I just was like, you know what? Like, I'm looking better, like, for sure. But like, I don't know if I want to keep this up forever. So it was easy for me to be like, you know what? Maybe this just isn't for me.
Right.
So yeah, it's so crazy to me that is a big struggle.
Well, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, it's once you get that skinny and you know what your body looks like it's hard to just put on the weight, and then your clothes have to get bigger. And then, things just don't fit you right like they used to. So there's an adjustment there. And I just think growing up, think about all the advertisements that we see as women and as men, that, the pretty models were always the super skinny models. It's just now coming out where there's like normal looking people as models, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's just been in the last couple of years, and it's still not even taken over. It's just starting to become a thing where our daughters are fortunate enough, I think, to be able to start seeing girls with healthy bodies in the TV shows that they watch, not the super skinny anorexic looking girls. Mm-hmm. But when I grew up, it was like, in all the teen magazines, like I remember as a kid, like all the girls that they had were super skinny. And then I was like, well, then I need to be that skinny.
Yeah.
And there was other events in my life that also played a factor into that. It's funny because people joke about other people being fat, and they don't think that they take it to heart because they're so skinny. They're like, there's no way they can believe that. But it's one of those things, like if you hear it over and over and over again, then you start to think, well, maybe it's true.
Maybe I am fat.
And that happened to me in my teenage years.
You were the skinniest girl in the room, but people were always joking with you. They felt comfortable calling you fat because you weren't.
I guess.
At all.
They thought it was funny to like tease me about it, but instead, like, quite honestly, it kind of gave me a complex. Like, like
you're like, where do you what?
Well, and then it's like you start looking in the mirror and you're like, well, maybe I could lose weight here or do that here, And there's other things too that I think helped shaped my importance of being skinny. And then when we met, I think a lot of it was just like, well, crap, like he fell in love with me at this weight. And I was probably by then like between 103 and 110. When you moved in, I think I was 111 pounds.
Yeah, and I still moved in, didn't I?
Yeah. But then over the course of that year, I was cooking more, and you loved certain meals, and those meals tended to be fattier. So I was making like meatloaf a lot and spaghetti and lasagna a lot. So then I was eating like fattier foods with you. And the next thing you know, I was 125. And I think it hit me the hardest when we went on our honeymoon. Because when we got out of the shower, there was like all these mirrors in the bathroom, and I could like see everything. And I was like,
different angles of yourself that you're not used to.
I was like, oh my gosh, Brittany, you've let yourself go. Like, this is bad. And then when we went to the...
meanwhile, I'm drying off like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And I kind of panicked. And I didn't want to wear my bathing suit to the beach because I felt so gross.
Man, so like, what... I don't even know what to say. Like, what is a healthy body in your mind right now? For you.
For me... I think my ideal weight is probably another 5 pounds less.
But when you get there, then what?
I don't know.
Are you going to be like, did it, bang?
Hopefully. But I don't know.
All right.
There was at one point where my doctor was even trying to like bargain with me. He was like, you need to put on 10 pounds. This is when I was 103 pounds. And he's like, you need to put on 10. And I remember looking at him and I was like, 5. And he was like, fine. Like, if that's where we have to start.
That's ridiculous.
But, like, I think actually he told me 20 pounds, and I was like 5, and he was like 10, and I was like 5.
Wow.
I'm like, no.
I wish I could go to the doctor and have him be like, you absolutely need to put on 20 pounds. Yeah. I'd be like, pizza and video games, let's go. Like,
it's just hard, because I know what other healthy people look like. But I think when it comes time to yourself, I think all people are naturally harder on themselves.
True.
And at the end of the day, yes, I would like to be able to enjoy a glass or two of wine every now and then. And, be able to have the cinnamon roll and not beat myself up if I miss a workout because I needed to sleep extra. In my career, like there's times where I'm up until midnight writing offers.
Yeah.
So then if I'm getting up at 5 so I can work out, now I'm not sleeping, and that's not healthy.
No.
It's a constant.
It is. And like you might see somebody like, for instance, you might see another woman and think that she is 100% absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Is she healthier than you? What if she is like so concerned with the way that she looks that she's like breaking down inside?
Right.
And I think that's a lot of like women deal with that.
I think men deal with it too.
I think men do too. On a certain level, like, you know, if I saw some guy, I'm like, damn, that guy is a good looking dude. That's Mr. Steal My Wife. Right there.
Aww.
Mr. Steal My Wife walking right there. I'm going to have to knock this guy out or something. He's too hot. Is he healthier than me?
I don't think so.
Maybe he, you know, lives in his mom's basement and, you know, just does arm curls all day.
Right.
You know, is that healthy? I don't know. I think there's a question to be asked about physical fitness and mental fitness. Do they go hand in hand? Are they separate? What's the deal with that? Who's healthier?
I think some people can be totally physically fit and mentally healthy.
Oh, I think so too.
I just think for you and I, we do find entertainment in wine tastings.
I love wine.
And doing different things like that. So I think it's just, again, it's, you know, we talked about juggling with work-life balance myths. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing with health. I think it's just, you know, if you make healthy decisions most of the time, then it's okay to treat yourself. And then I think for me, or people like me, it's also just becoming okay.
Yeah.
And
accepting
your body for what it is. You know, I think what I need to start doing is I need to look in the mirror and just be like, this is my body. And it's not like anybody else's body. And I just need to be okay with that. And you love me. Mm-hmm. And I need to love myself.
Absolutely. If you don't love yourself, you can't love other people.
You know, I don't think that's true because I love you a lot.
Well, you know what I mean. You start to become, it's easier to love other people. I
think it's just a lot easier said than done, but I'll definitely work on it. And I think I have been. I think I've improved.
You've come leaps and bounds. That's why I think that this podcast was easier for us to do, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of realness that we can talk about, and it's getting better. Like, yeah. I used to put a lot more weight on my physical fitness than I do right now, and I'm not unfit. And
that was going to be one of your first video series.
What, fitness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to think that, like, when I first got a camera and I was making videos, that I was going to do fitness because that's what was important to me right then and there, like, really important. Mm-hmm. I was like, I will be the last man standing in a zombie apocalypse because of these guns. Like, I wanted to be Mr. Olympia. Yeah. Not. I wanted to be, like, super superior, and.
Well, I think you're super.
Well, thank you very much. It just ended up not being for me because I crave happiness in life, and that wasn't providing it for me. So I guess my advice to somebody that's wondering if they're unhealthy or trying to get into shape is take it as far as you want to. Take it to where you feel comfortable. And if you're one of those people like Brittany that, you know, that comfortability point between weight and happiness is very difficult to find, you just got to keep at it and narrow it down. And I don't know. Do you have any advice for those people?
I think for everybody, it's just making sure that your passion with weight loss doesn't become a problem.
Yeah.
I think what happened with me was two things. One was when I first got down to 103 pounds, I was depressed. So I was going through a lot of things, which decreased my appetite. So it wasn't like I had to force myself to not eat. I just didn't want to eat. Mm-hmm. But then I started to lose the weight, and I knew what was causing the weight loss, and I kind of got addicted to seeing the number go down on the scale.
And that's unhealthy.
And I knew that running every day helped me do that too. So it was kind of like I became obsessed about the wrong things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of just making healthy decisions so your overall body can be healthy. And maybe we need to throw out the scales. You know, maybe it's not about the weight and the measurements. It's just about how you look and feel. And if you know, which I know, that we make healthy decisions more often than not. We have a lean protein and vegetables almost every night for dinner.
Yeah.
And I eat salads for lunch. And, like, we make healthy decisions most of the time. It's the weekends that kind of catch up to us when we might have a little bit.
4 slices of pizza.
We might have some junk food and some wine. But I feel like if we know in our hearts that we are healthy more often than we're not, then the scale shouldn't matter. But it's hard.
It is hard. But I agree with what you said 100%. And I think a lot of people can benefit from the things that you talk about.
I hope so.
I think so. I would, for sure. So thank you guys for listening to this podcast or watching, wherever you are taking in this content, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Thank you guys for all your continued support. Like, comment, share, do all those things that we have to tell you to do in 2020 so we can be heard.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Like or drop a comment and let us know what you think about what a healthy body is. I'm super intrigued to see what a lot of other people think.
Me too.
So, see you guys later. I thought that was good.
Me too.